This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the governing body. My name's Jay Swisher. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation. Thank you all for tuning in to the department's FY21 CIP presentation. In this presentation, I will brief 10 total slides detailing 15 unique capital projects specific to the department's future needs. The Signal Hill Park Trail project is recommended for FY21 and comes in at $116,000. The trail system is in serious decline, with large fractures and cracking all throughout the trail. Certain sections, notably the area adjacent to the pond, are especially treacherous and present numerous trip and fall hazards to pedestrians. The top layer of trail will be milled and a 2-inch overlay of surface course asphalt then added. The tennis and basketball court resurface projects are recommended for FY25 and come in at $84,000 and $63,000 respectively. Surface conditions on both courts are poor and continue to deteriorate at a rapid rate. Large cracks make competitive play difficult to impossible, but more importantly, present a serious trip and fall hazard to users. In addition, the fencing that surrounds the tennis court is dilapidated with large gaps and missing links. Both sites will be milled and resurfaced and then repainted in order to reestablish official court lines. In the case of the tennis court, the old fence will be removed and replaced and the poles will be reset. The playground upgrade project is scheduled for Signal Hill Park and recommended for FY23. This project comes in at $85,000. The current equipment is in severe disrepair and has essentially reached the end of its useful life cycle. Several of the clamps and decks are corroding while sharp corners are present on the decks, transfer station, and bridge. Unfortunately, due to the age of the product, staff is unable to obtain genuine replacement parts from the manufacturer, affecting the safety and functionality of the equipment and ultimately minimizing the effectiveness of future repairs. All current equipment will be removed and replaced with all new units, safety surfacing, and borders. The size of the space will also be reduced by approximately 3,000 square feet, which will ultimately aid in reducing future maintenance costs. The retaining wall demo project is recommended for FY23 and comes in at $97,000. The existing wall has begun to disintegrate at a rapid pace, with fragments of stone and mortar continuously coming detached, often falling into the adjacent street and sidewalk. This creates potential hazards for both pedestrians and motorists. In order to rectify the existing wall will need to be demoed and a new segmental wall constructed in the current footprint. As you can see in the picture, a temporary stopgap has been implemented. While this isn't the most aesthetically pleasing and intended to be a temporary in nature, it has been fairly effective at preventing large volumes of debris from spilling over into the adjoining sidewalk and roadway. The Wellness Center equipment project is recommended for FY24 and comes in at $115,000. By fiscal year 24, part of the facility's Wellness Center strength line will have exceeded 14 years in operation, while the other portion will be close to 10 years old. Industry standard for purchased equipment is between 7 and 10 years. However, some commercial facilities replace equipment on a 3 to 5 year cycle, mostly due to frequent changes in technology and the attempt to avoid future maintenance costs and prolonged equipment downtime. All existing equipment will be removed and replaced with new modernized units. This would include selectorized machines, plate-loaded units, functional training, and cable-based units, as well as free weights. The Recoat indoor pool deck and heater replacement projects are recommended for FY22 and 24 and come in at $18,000 and $40,000 respectively. This is the original deck from when the community center opened in 2010. As the texture continues to decline and cracks form, slip, trip, and potential for slip and fall hazards increase. The existing coating will be grinded down, repaired as needed, all cracks epoxied, and recoated with a skid-resistant material. The current pool heaters were installed in FY17, and given their 7 to 10-year lifespan, they will require replacement in FY24 at the latest. Without heaters in place, the spa's intended function becomes unachievable, and the indoor pool will drop to levels that are undesirable to most user groups, particularly our swim lesson participants, leisure swimmers, and Group X class participants. This will also increase an imbalance in the equilibrium of our aquatic environment, impacting the facility's HVAC system as we require a 2-degree separation between air and water temp. Time spent outside this predetermined range can accelerate condensation, precipitate water loss, and ultimately impact utility costs. The Signal Bay Water Park, Bathhouse, Pump Room, and Pool Office Demo Rebuild project is recommended for FY25 and comes in at $1.1 million. The Bathhouse, Pump Room, and Pool Office at Signal Bay are in disrepair and in need of replacement. The toilets struggle to keep up with demand, electrical components are failing, the bathhouse ventilation system is inadequate and unreliable, the roof is leaking, as well as the pump room. The cinder block walls have begun to crack and disintegrate. The bathhouse in particular draws a considerable number of complaints by water park patrons each year. While some concerns have been addressed temporarily, we have passed the point where cleaning, painting, or refurbishment is a sufficient long-term remedy to make the space appealing. In addition, certain aspects of the bathhouse are not up to code. The bathroom stalls are too small, the ADA shower does not meet accessibility standards, and access to the water park does not require patrons to enter through the bathhouse. This project would entail a demolition and removal of the current bathhouse, pump room, and pool office at Signal Bay, and a rebuild in the current footprint. We would then upgrade the pump room equipment to include all new piping and filter tanks. The Chemical Feed Controller, Perimeter Caulk, and Whitecoat Replacement project is recommended for FY22, 23, and 28, and comes in at $30,000, $46,000, and $60,000 respectively. Operating without an automatic chemical controller places the department at risk for overdosing the pool with both chlorine and/or acid, resulting in unhealthy or dangerous conditions. We also run the risk of underdosing the pool, which increases the chance of recreational water illness and algae growth. The current controllers were replaced in 2010 and 11, so given industry standard, we are due for a replacement. We will need to replace 4 total controllers, 2 each at the community center and the water park. The caulk line that surrounds the perimeter of both the activity pool and lazy river was last replaced in 2015. This work should ideally be performed every 2 years. However, with careful maintenance practices, can be extended to every 5. It is essential that the perimeter caulk not be compromised, or water will seep into the joints and cause more expensive beam and concrete damage. The Whitecoat at Signal Bay was also replaced in 2015. Plaster on outdoor seasonal pools traditionally has a lifespan of 8 years. As plaster ages, pitting forms on the surface, creating an environment that encourages algae and bacteria growth. Much like the risk that exists with the perimeter caulk lines, if water is allowed to penetrate the surface, plaster and beam damage are likely. The vehicle replacement project is recommended for FY23 and FY26 and comes in at $231,000 for the entire project start to finish. In addition to the replacement of 5 existing vehicles, this project includes the purchase of a new crew cab truck with an accompanying snowplow package. The department currently employs 2 work trucks, 1 for each park manager. In the summer of 2017, Parks and Rec was tasked with the responsibility of assuming all mowing and trimming responsibilities for all city park spaces. Parks Division staff now mow and trim just under 79 total acres, encompassing 7 parks and multiple historic sites. As a result, the department's 2 park managers rely heavily on part-time staff for support. An additional crew cab truck will allow the Parks Division to accomplish more work by mobilizing more team members to a variety of sites simultaneously. This will improve efficiency, but also alleviate wear and tear on the current work trucks, as both are approaching 12 and 14 years in age. All current vehicles are up in age and mileage, with the 2 existing work trucks and the 15-passenger van representing the most pressing needs per advisement from the DPW head mechanic. Lastly, we recommend swapping out the current sedan with a cargo van in the future. There is a negligible difference in price. However, the van provides increased accommodation and is multifunctional in use. The utility vehicle and zero-turn mower replacement project is recommended for FY24, again in 24, and in FY25, and comes in at $11,000 and $39,000 respectively. The current Costello Park UTV is 15 years old and in serious disrepair. It is habitually in and out of the shop and borderline unsafe for use. Without a functioning UTV, many park assignments will take significantly more time to perform. Park to pick up trash, using wheelbarrows to move small concentrations of mulch, thus increasing personnel costs and/or diminishing efficiency. With just under 79 acres of mowable space spanning 7 city parks, our existing zero-turn units will also require replacement in FY24 and FY25. Industry standards dictate 2,500 to 3,000 total hours, which are scheduled which we are scheduled to reach or exceed by the proposed fiscal years. In this request, we propose staggering replacement over a 2-year period since the one unit was purchased a year prior to the other two and thus has a slightly reduced lifespan. This concludes the Department of Parks and Recreation's FY21 CIP presentation. Thank you for your time and have a great evening.